Welcome back to the Motivating Force. Today, starting off quickly here, we got Josue, an aspiring Marine Corps officer who's finishing up ROTC and his bachelor's in the criminal justice field. And myself, Justin, a motivational speaker who's always more than excited to share all of our wonderful ideas and topics with you guys. As always, for this beautiful Monday morning, we're going to go over something a little bit here to pick at your brain and get you thinking from a new perspective. And today I kind of want to talk about a personal problem that I've had, and I know I'm not the only one that deals with it. And I decided to label this problem as goal planning ADHD.
Well, starting off, that's a hard hitter because I'm sure a lot of people have to go through with that, have to deal with all that ADHD side effects.
Yeah, and this is something that is not going to be cured with Adderall. So I do have ways that I can hopefully help you guys cure this type of ADHD that I've also experienced from time to time. And with it being a personal problem, I kind of wanted to paint the picture for you guys here. It's a scenario, you're driving home, right? You're listening to your favorite podcast. It's kind of like our podcast, except a little bit better. Don't worry, we understand. We'll get there. And they hit you with just the right words. It tickles just the right spots on the back of your head. And next thing you know, your brain's moving faster than your car is, right? And all you can think about are these ideas and aspirations and things you want to accomplish. So you race home, you get home, screw dinner, you're going to start writing this stuff down right now. So you pull out that piece of paper, or you pull out your phone, and you start writing down every single thing that goes through your mind. Because God forbid you miss something. That one thing you missed, that's going to be that $1 million idea. So you get it all down, right? And then what do? You do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then you take a nap. And then that's the end of it. So you just end up with this pile of half-done things. So how do we solve this problem? And I kind of want to reflect off of one quote for pretty much this entire episode. And quote kind of goes as follows. We reflect the things we value most, and what we value most changes every single day. Or at least it does for the untrained individual.
I mean, what I can see being a problem when it comes to those that have ADHD or any form of it, because it comes in a spectrum as well. You have people that are almost like obsessive compulsive to the point that it's just any little thing triggers them to start focusing on that, right? The topic is goal planning, right? So let's say you have a bunch of these goals that you want to do. They're going to start one and then go, oh, wait, I just remembered something else off the list. And then they stop that halfway through and then start another one. And that causes a giant mess. And I can see that's where we're trying to find a solution for it. So people aren't stuck just mindlessly not doing anything.
Yeah, and I think these kind of two things go hand in hand, right? So we're going to try to solve this issue with getting just a little bit done here and there of these different tasks. And we're also going to understand that we reflect the things that we value most. And typically that's going to change every single day. Because the point of that is that, some days we value our rest or our laziness more than we do our self-improvement. And other days we're fired up to create the best possible future for ourselves. So we're going to reflect these different values, these different characteristics based off of really the roll of the dice, what our mood is in that morning when we wake up. And for people who don't have necessarily that iron will, that strong discipline, which don't worry, I don't blame you. A lot of us don't have that. It's definitely something you have to learn. It takes years to get down, and that's really one of those keys to success. So don't be too dismayed if that's a quality you don't have yet. But you have to understand that you are going to reflect those characteristics of how you feel in the morning, pretty much.
Right. I was going to ask if you think that that's something that still goes into effect with those of us that have been keeping on track with, the smart goal setting and doing little things each day to keep you on those small goals that get you through the day, because that leads a little bit of that discipline that you need to maintain, when you want to achieve all these things that you write down. Do you think the people that have been practicing that already will be affected to almost like this extreme that you're setting out? Or is this for basically the beginner goal achieving people out there? Like for the people that are starting off on this journey, this is more lean towards them, right? Because they're the ones that are going to be affected the most.
Yeah, I mean, they are going to be affected the most, but I do think it's going to affect everybody to some degree.
Right.
In that way that, the people who do go out there, set up the SMART goals, they have these clear paths, these steps that they need to take to accomplish whatever they're out to accomplish. They're still going to wake up some mornings and they're going to feel like crap.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Or they're going to wake up in the morning and be like, well, none of this is worth it. I don't want to do anything. And of course, we talked about before about creating that balance and realizing like when you do need a day off and whatnot. And this can be kind of like a cousin to that, where you kind of take it the other way. And instead of waking up and being like, well, none of this means anything, and instead of looking at that in like a negative light, they'll be like, maybe that's not what my vision is. Maybe, it's something similar. Like I'm supposed to go a little bit to the left instead of this way towards that goal. And then the problem is they'll start doing that and they'll start accomplishing these different things. And all in all, it seems like a good idea because you're still out there accomplishing things, but you're going down this different path. It's like, that's not what you set before yourself. You know?
You're tweaking your end result. And it's almost like those of us that, you start college with this envisionment of what you want that degree to be. And then you start taking all the courses, all the classes and stuff for that. But then you realize maybe this isn't for me, or maybe it's a little bit too hard. And then you kind of give up. You go to another degree because you can switch degrees. And then they end up in a completely different field. Is that then like wasted time is what you're saying?
I mean, that's hard to say because, like, in that scenario, I mean, technically none of it's wasted time because we're talking about education. And I know there's a lot of successful people out there that kind of use that little gimmick there with that, where they're like, oh, I'm out here and I have a degree. I have, like, a bachelor's in, like, medicinal studies. I say, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I own a multi-million-dollar real estate company.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the degree didn't help them achieve the type of success that they visioned for themselves, but it's still gaining knowledge, it's still educational, and it's still something just to add to, your arsenal of tools that you can apply to your life. I think it is important to have all that stuff down, especially in the educational side. You really can't go wrong, but you can set yourself back. And like in that example where you're kind of hopping from field to field to field all the time, and say you go through 4 different majors until you finally land on one to get your degree. Yeah, there's a lot of wasted time in that.
Yeah.
How much more time could you have put towards prioritizing and executing on a plan that was rock solid and then just achieving that, or to be able to find that end goal without having to really kind of, put your feet in the water and see what feels good first.
Yeah.
And that comes with the power of being able to envision what you want in your life, where you're going to be the happiest.
Yeah, because that is one of the hardest things to do. Giving that example, it's tough being somebody of that age. You're not sure of your voice, like we discussed last week. You haven't found your voice. You don't know what you want to achieve in your life. You don't know. It's very rare to find somebody that can tell you, like, this is what I want to be, and then they actually become it at that age. Like having an 18 or 17-year-old tell you, oh, I want to be, I don't know, something super specific, and then that's something super specific at 50 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always going to change, but it's also okay.
Yeah, and it's understanding what your goal is and what you're trying to do, because a lot of times that will involve change. Some of these journeys and some of these tasks, they are going to take you, 10 years to accomplish, but eventually it leads you somewhere. I guess the greatest example of that, going back to the good old Elon Musk, as always, right? He has his degree in physics and, rocket science, and he's got all these things. And what did he do? He opened up essentially a loan company, right? He's a part of PayPal, did that forever, and then looped it back around to being able to do his end goal, which was trying to colonize Mars. But he needed the resources to do that. So what did he do? Oh, okay, I just need to become the richest man in the world, and then I could probably make this a reality.
Yeah. And then also have transportation. So I'm just going to make the transportation to get there.
Right. So it's that type of idea, though, where, you know, you are going to have these things where they're going to just be a backup for you. They're going to be a platform for you to jump off of, and that's not wasted time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess so with that ADHD goal planning, this is that's going to be something people are going to struggle with in the start.
Yeah.
But it's also going to be, I guess, more of an issue with people already on that journey, already working towards their SMART goals and developing that discipline they need to kind of put the emotions aside and accomplish what they want to accomplish. To get back to more of the beginners, right? Because the beginners in the self-help community and the self-improvement podcasting, that type of environment, every single time you listen to a podcast, you're going to get that fire inside of you. And you're going to be like, man, I'm messing up. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I mean, that's a good thing, right? You need that fire to really, as we talked about before, trimming down the fat.
Yeah.
Getting these really toxic character traits and habits off of your back.
Yeah. Well, getting that first foot placed in front of you first.
Yeah.
Getting that initial start, but the key is to keep it going, keep that fire lit.
Yeah, because that's what's going to take the most momentum is to start the motion.
Yeah.
So you're definitely going to get those really big hits of energy. And like we said, you're going to go home, you're going to write it all down, and you're going to do a little bit here and a little bit there, because as soon as a task gets too hard or it's something you don't know about, but you're so ready to finish something and accomplish it, you're like, okay, well, I'll look that up later. Let's go do this now. And then you just end up with all these uncompleted tasks compared to a handful of tasks that are done. Because nothing's, I guess as dumb as it would be to say, nothing is done until it's finished.
Yeah.
And it sounds really dumb, but think about that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's I don't know, that could be helpful. So it kind of a step-by-step process here. When you get that fire, you're going to write it all down anyways, so do it. Get it all written down. Every single idea, every single thought. Because also what that's going to do is it's going to help calm you down. It's going to help clear that mental energy that you're going to need. You're going to have space in your brain now to really make some rational decisions.
Right.
And the very first thing we're going to do after that, we're going to prioritize. So we're going to take this list, and I kind of broke it down in two different ways. So if you take a look at your list and it's as long as a book, you know, it looks like your grocery list up on the fridge, we're going to kind of prioritize this by the quickest tasks.
Yeah.
Because you have so many there. Let's knock out some of these smaller ones.
Yeah, we need to eventually just quit the multitasking at the beginning. Because
Yeah.
everybody's so accustomed to multitasking, saving that time. But, you know, that's a skill that you need to get to. You need to start doing this step by step first until you feel comfortable enough to, you know, I can clean the kitchen and the laundry because they're close, right? You can't just do things that are on the other side of the house at the same time, because then you're just going to stop doing one altogether.
And that same thing applies towards yourself. And like that's the beautiful thing about beginning this journey is how easy it is and how many things you have to do that are simple to like start yourself on that right path. You know, like as simple as going through and cleaning out your friends list online.
Yeah.
Going through and cleaning out your exposure towards negative content. Super easy things that'll take you maybe an hour tops to really go through and do. I feel it's important to prioritize those quicker tasks if you have a lot of them. Because if you have a lot of them, you're definitely starting off this journey. Or you've fallen off and you're trying to get back on track.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a while.
Yeah, and it's going to feel a lot better. That confidence is going to be raised. You're going to feel confident in, you know, actually getting things done now, because you have this list in front of you with 100 things, but half of it's all the quick stuff. And you're going to look at that after all those quick things are done, and you're going to see a bunch of checks. That's going to make you feel good. So then you just move on. Okay, maybe I can take on one that's going to take a little bit more of my time.
Yeah, that's been the best way to do it. And I think if you have a smaller list, you get home, you write down all these things, and you're kind of just like, am I sure that's it?
Yeah.
Like, really? I got all this energy, and I only have like 6-7 things down here? Well, I feel like a waste of time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you're in that kind of boat, we want to prioritize the things that are going to be the most rewarding.
Right.
To yourself. Because at this point, you know, you probably have your life a little more on track. You're probably a little more structured. Have all this fat trimmed off already. So let's take that energy and let's put it to use towards something that you're actually gonna reap the rewards from.
Yeah, that's smart. Going after the rewards first once you get to that point, because it's very easy to, look at a small list like that after getting all these things done the week before, the month before, and now you're looking at a handful of things. It's easy to just go, I'll push it off. It's not 20 things anymore. It's now 7. It can last tomorrow. It can last till next week. But then what's going to happen? That's now going to double. It's just going to accumulate again. So seeking the rewards is going to help you to avoid the procrastination, and it's going to keep that flow going for yourself.
Yeah, that's true, because especially when you are kind of more in that intermediate stage of helping yourself out, a lot of these goals you're going to have are going to be for the long game, for sure. And they're not going to have a whole lot of rewards up front. And those are things you should be working on all the time, with like that low energy, that medium energy. You should always be pushing towards those things and let them, accomplish as they do, as we talked about before, with, waiting for those lights of opportunity to shine on you, or those doors to open up on your path. Getting done the things that will give you rewards is going to help you feel great. And you'll get that accomplishment back. You'll get that momentum going again. And that's going to be really important, because either way, if you're new to this, if you're in the late game of this kind of thing, right? You kind of have your life figured out. You're living a structured life. You're moving forward. Any little thing that you accomplish 100%, it's all an accumulation towards that end goal. And for a beginner, it wouldn't make sense to push off the little things and to focus on some heavy hitters up front to only have 1 or 2 accomplishments behind their back. Whereas when they can already start off with 100. Granted, they're easy and they're simple, but it's done.
Yeah.
And people will tell you that, oh, that's easy. I could do that. Did you? Because I think that's something people really struggle with, is when they start getting that feedback from friends and family, which will almost always be negative when you're trying to improve yourself, is like, you did that? Okay, why is that a big deal? I could do that in an hour. Well, yeah, and I did it in an hour. But it's done. Did you do it?
Yeah. Or even if it takes you more than an hour. Hey, why do you have to live up to their standards? You found your voice. You found, you don't have to listen to other people's judgments on you when they're not doing the same things. We've said it so many times in the past month alone. This is your life. Don't let other people's negative comments or judgments affect the path that you have in front of you. Don't let them affect that list or those steps that you're taking for yourself. They might not be important to other people, or the negative Nancys you called them in the previous episode, but this is your life, and that's what you should keep telling yourself. Keep reinforcing the fact that they're not doing the challenges for you. They're not doing those goals that you have for you. They're not coming to your house. They're not cleaning up the kitchen. They're not cleaning up the bathroom or whatever it is, even like little things like that. They're not doing it. So why are you going to let their comments or negative energy affect how you go about achieving your goals?
Yeah, because the moral of the story to that is you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be letting it affect you at all. Bringing us up towards that last step here. This is the part that's almost the obvious, right? You talk about ADHD, it's the same thing where like, oh, you have insomnia and you're tired? Just go to bed. Oh, you have ADHD? Just do things in order. Okay? But that's what I'm going to tell you, because obviously your goal planning ADHD, I'm not talking about a real form of ADHD here. Yeah. We're just talking about that high energy you get, that high motivation you get. So our last step is, of course, the obvious. Work that list in that order.
Yeah.
Right? Because now, okay, you've cleared your mind out. It's all written down. You've expended some of that energy really organizing this list and prioritizing everything. So now you should be a little bit more level-headed. You've already expended some energy. You already feel like you're getting in the right direction because you made a list, you made a plan, and you made actions towards accomplishing that plan. You're going to already start feeling the accomplishment setting in a little bit. The energy's going down now. You should be able to work that list in order at this point. You know, that energy. And if you still have that high energy, great, because you're going to be able to accomplish more things.
Yeah.
But, you know, focus on each task at hand. Use all that energy that you have on that single goal moving forward.
Yeah.
Don't even be thinking about like, oh, well, let's kind of like take our time. Let's take it easy with this task because, the next one's going to be a little harder. It's not as fast as this one. So, let's kind of pace ourselves here. My opinion from what I've gone through, because like I said, this whole episode is about my personal experience with this issue. Don't even look at the next task yet until you finish the one you're on. Just look at that one. Okay, we're doing this now. Okay, we're cleaning the kitchen now. Put all your energy towards it because then you'll get it done faster. You're not thinking about anything else. You're just going to go out there. You're going to get it done.
Yeah, because as soon as you read that second step of what you need to do, as you're cleaning the kitchen or as you're tackling on that first challenge that you have for yourself, it's just that second step's going to be burning in the back of your head. Like, man, maybe that one would be done a little bit quicker. Maybe I should go do that instead of this because this is taking longer than I expected. Then that's going to be killing the energy that you have placed for achieving that first task. And that energy is fleeting when you're using it for two different things. So it's all about using that energy not all at once, but focusing in at one thing at a time.
Yeah, because like for me, like I definitely see what you're saying. That's a really valid point. But from like what I've gone through with it is it's almost a demotivator.
Yeah.
To sit there and be thinking about while you're doing something, thinking about the next thing you have to do, because then you're in your mind, you're like, oh crap, I'm not done after this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the energy is fleeting because if you have all that high energy, you see it all, you wrote the list down, so it's a lot of things. And at first, because you're not burning out all that energy, you're like, okay, this is fine. This list is good. I can tackle it one thing at a time. But then you read two things, and now you're using energy for two things at once.
Yeah.
Even if you're only tackling one task, your mind is using the energy for two.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. It's fleeting because the high energy isn't there anymore because now the levels are gone. Levels are off.
And that's perfect, man. That's exactly why you should be doing this list in order. And that's the way you should do it. One at a time. Don't even worry about the next thing. Focus on one task at a time moving forward. When you finish that task, give yourself that pat on the back. Like, okay, that's done. Good for me. And if that energy is still there, you're going to be like, okay, what's next?
Right.
And you're going to go and you're going to check. Or you're going to be like, whoo! Okay, it's time for that nap we talked about at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
And you go take a nap and you see what happens. And then normally that list waits until next week.
Right.
But you get what I'm saying. You get the flow because you want to end up accomplishing a handful of tasks more than you do just wanting to get halfway through a handful more.
Right.
Because then you have nothing actually done.
Right.
So that's what I got for you guys this wonderful Monday morning. I guess the stupid quote of the day being, something's not done until you finish it. All right.
It's not stupid, but also, for example, of something super simple that you can get done very quickly. You're already here. You can just hit subscribe. You can hit the like button. You can hit that little bell icon so that you can get notified every time we drop new episodes. If you want to take it a little bit step deeper, you want to take a little bit more time and dedicate a little bit to us, you can go ahead, you can comment down below. You can also share the video and the page to your friends and family. If there's somebody that you know that has this problem of trying to tackle a bunch of things at once and never getting anything done to show for it, go ahead, send them this video. We'd very much appreciate it.
When you're done with all of that, step 2 is going to be heading over to our social medias. We made that easy for you guys too. All the links are down in the description. We got Facebook, we got Parler, we got Instagram. Go check us out there. We got plenty of content for you guys to go through.
All of our videos come out Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 a.m. EST. Now until the next time, go and get.